Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
Just staying one shot at a time. That's what I kept doing. Just don't get ahead of yourself. A bunch of people told me that, and I felt like I really stayed patient all week. I just felt like I should be winning more. I'm not a big fan of losing. I don't think anybody out here is. I just couldn't stand the fact that I'd only won once. I've worked my tail off trying to make sure that I was physically ready and strong enough to be able to swing the club the way I wanted to. That's probably the most emotion I've ever showed coming down the stretch. I mean, it feels amazing, you know, to get my name on this trophy with so many other great names. It's truly an honor.
First-time major winners aren't supposed to look as calm, cool, and collected as Brooks Koepka did yesterday at Erin Hills. And if he was feeling the nerves at all, somebody needs to give this guy an Academy Award as well, because there was no sign of it, not on his face, and certainly not with his game. Todd Lewis sat down with Koepka shortly after the awards ceremony to discuss his emotions on Sunday and his record-setting performance in the U.S. Open.
Sergio picked up his first major in his 30s. Phil picked up his first major in his 30s. You're still in your 20s. Now you have a major championship. I know this has been a goal for you. The next goal, what is it?
Number 2. I feel like it's not far away. My game's in good shape. I feel like I've worked my tail off for quite some time, made some changes, and I've said it all year that I've been ready to win a major. And now to see it come true is pretty neat.
It's interesting. You won the championship. We're not trying to give Dustin the credit here, but if he didn't push you a little bit more, you think you'd be where you are right now?
I think it's a good competitive spirit we've kind of got going. You know, I'd hope he'd say that I kind of push him and he pushes me. It's cool. It's kind of like a little team thing. I mean, we share a swing coach with Claude and a trainer in Joey D. So we're around each other a lot, and it's been cool to see the success he's had. But it definitely has lit a fire under me.
Did some of that internal pressure, frustration, get magnified with your friendship with Dustin Johnson, considering you've seen him rise through the ranks and become #1 in the world and win a major championship?
Yeah, there's a lot of competitive spirits going on in our group. It was awesome to watch him win that last year, to be honest with you. A little bit of jealousy. I just always said if I work hard and try to outwork the #1 player in the world, it's going to come. It might not be that way for him, but for me, it's truly important, and I'm always trying to outdo him.
What do you think had you best prepared to ultimately hold that championship trophy?
I'm playing good. I just need to stay focused and take it one shot at a time, and I was able to do that this week.
You went to Europe, you started on the Challenge Tour, you won 4 times, and then you won on the European Tour. How did that help put you in the position that you are now?
Winning's winning. It doesn't matter where you are. You got to learn how to do it. You grow up your whole life wanting to win golf tournaments. I wasn't the best at that when I was younger, and it took me a little while to develop and start winning. I don't want to say I'm a late bloomer, but I guess I kind of am. And it's an art, finishing off rounds, finishing off a golf tournament, and I was lucky enough to do that this week.
Yeah, you talked about the fact that you feel like you haven't lived up to your potential. How were you able to manage those frustrations?
It got to the point where I was extremely frustrated. I felt like I should have won 3, 4, 5 times already on the PGA Tour, and I hadn't done that. So it was something I needed to kind of take a step back, and instead of trying to press to win, something I needed to let come to me. It had kind of eaten me up, to be honest with you, and I think that kind of hindered me a little bit, being so focused on winning instead of being able to play golf, and it kind of held me back a little bit.
Internal pressure you put on yourself?
Yeah, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I mean, I work just as hard as anybody. I put the work in, and to finally have a result is nice.
You've achieved a lifelong dream. Come on, give us a little glimpse. What's this celebration going to be like, and how long will it last?
It'll be a good one. It'll be fun. I'm excited. It'll be fun to have it around everyone that's close to me, and my family, especially on Father's Day. It's pretty cool for my dad. I can't wait to get it back so my mom can see it, and my whole family, my brother. It'll be truly special to have it around everyone that's close to me.
Since 1990, only 2 players had posted a round of 67 or better in the final round of the U.S. Open. Yesterday, Brooks Koepka became the 3rd, joining Tiger Woods in 2000 and Hale Irwin 10 years prior. For more on Brooks Koepka, Tim Rosafort joins us from Chicago. Rosie, you witnessed Koepka in person. What impressed you most about his performance?
I thought Dave Kindred basically summed him up the best as sort of a new age Arnold Palmer. Now, this is only his second win on tour and his first major championship, but you look at what he's got around him, that team of Claude Harmon as a swing coach, Pete Cowan as a short game coach. He's got Jeff Pierce as a putting coach. He's got the now legendary Joey D of Vesalvi as his performance coach. And he also has Dustin Johnson as, I guess, basically almost his head coach, a guy that he told me, Brooks told me, has become his mentor, a guy that they both talk about the mentality it takes to win, and obviously it rubbed off on him. In Kindred's words, he's got those blacksmith's arms coming out of running back shoulders, young and strong, but he's also smart too and well coached.
He plays the game a lot like DJ, too. It almost seems like he's been a big brother figure for him. Look, let's go back some years, Rosie, because you've been following Koepka's journey for quite some time. How did his experience pay off yesterday?
Well, I think you have to give credit to his father, Bob, who was a scratch golfer when Brooks was growing up, and he took him to about age 10, and then he brought him to Warren Botke out at Abacoa, a teaching pro down there, and said, look, take him to the next level, and that's what Warren did. You look at some of the high school results and pictures, just a little man when he's a freshman on the team, playing fourth, ends up shooting 77 in the finals as Cardinal Newman High School down in West Palm comes in second, and then 2 years later wins the state title with a 66, the individual state title 66. And then you look on the progression after Florida State, going over to Europe, following the trail first blazed by Peter Uihlein, living with Uihlein in Florida. After Uihlein wins at the Madeira Islands, guess who's waiting for him afterward? It's Brooks Koepka. And then when Koepka wins up in Turkey, guess who's waiting for him? It's Peter Uihlein. And then the progression just continued onto the PGA Tour. It's amazing, Lisa, if you think, just 3 years ago, 2014, U.S. Open down at Pinehurst. That was only his fourth major championship. He's got Rory McIlroy and Fowler asking him to play practice rounds with him. He ends up finishing tied fourth with the likes of Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, all the big heavyweights of that time. Sure, it was a distant T4, but a big statement for it and a big step in his career as well, because it got him his exempt status on the PGA Tour, allowed him not to worry about that element of it and continue to grow and get continually stronger throughout the course of these last 3 years.
It has been an amazing journey, Rosie. Here's a guy who's been successful on every single level, and he's doing it rather quickly. We're going to talk more about your week at Erin Hills, a really special story coming up.
Thanks, Lisa.
How about this tweet from Golf Channel today? Pretty great week for FSU golf. Jack Nicklaus is redesigning their golf course. Check. Daniel Berger wins in Memphis. Check. And Brooks Koepka wins the U.S. Open. Check. And we welcome in Florida State men's head golf coach Trey Jones, who was at the College World Series supporting the Seminoles baseball team. Coach, first of all, congratulations. You told me you talked with Brooks Koepka last night. What did he say?
Well, we have a sign, Lisa, in our team room, and it has 4 major champions on it. It's a big sign, and I picked up the phone at 12:30, and he said, hey, I think we need to change that sign to 5.
2 weeks ago, it was Florida State alum Daniel Berger winning in Memphis. Yesterday, wow, what a performance by Brooks Koepka. Look, I'm sure you knew big things were coming for this guy, but do you expect him to get a major this soon?
It does not surprise me one bit. I actually thought his first major would be probably the British Open, but this kind of turned out that way, where it was windy and on a golf course that you had to be creative on. So I am not surprised at all that anything that Brooks Koepka does.
You're used to watching these guys play in person. What's it like? I mentioned Daniel and then Brooks yesterday. What's it like watching them for you as their former coach excelling at the highest level? What are their nerves like?
Well, oh my gosh, I think it's worse on my wife than it is for me. I'm used to watching golf and know how things can change, so you don't get too high and too low. And it's fun to be a fan. It truly is. I think she takes it a lot harder than I do.
Well, you're enjoying being a fan this afternoon. Best of luck. They're supporting the baseball team. Thanks for the time, Coach.
Lisa, thank you so much for having me on.
Brooks Koepka isn't a member of the most accurate club on the PGA Tour. For the season, he's only hitting 55% of the fairways, 64% of the greens, but he was the Mo Norman of ball striking last week in Wisconsin, over 86% in both categories, the best of any player in the field. Let's say hello to PGA Tour winner Brian Bateman. Speaking of a good ball striker, man, I remember watching you with those irons back in the day. A lot to be impressed with Brooks Koepka yesterday and throughout the week. What impressed you the most?
Well, I think it's got to be the combination of distance and accuracy off of the tee. For someone to be able to hit it as far as Brooks Koepka does, and to hit fairways as well, and then take advantage of the high ball flight with his iron play was just an unbelievable performance, one that we've never seen before. Someone so dominant off the tee with distance and with accuracy.
We heard Rosie talk about his team earlier, from his swing coach to his trainer. What about his caddy?
Well, I talked to Rosie earlier today, and he said that his caddy, Ricky Elliott, has been a huge influence on Brooks Koepka. Brooks can be kind of hard on himself on the golf course, and his caddy has been a kind of a calming influence for anything when he gets out of hand on the golf course, when he gets ahead of himself. But he was also very instrumental in introducing Brooks to Pete Cowan, short game coach that Brooks uses now. Brooks was having some mechanical issues, they thought, around the greens. Pete helped him out with that. So not only has Ricky Elliott been a great influence on the golf course, he's also helped him make some decisions to improve his golf game.
And it's certainly worked. Just side note, nobody's ever called me Mo Norman. Still ahead tonight, 3 of the biggest names in the game are all back in action this week in Cromwell, Connecticut. We have an early preview of the Travelers Championship. That's later on Golf Central.